currently in Talkeetna, Alaska, on our way to go visit a few homesteaders to see their farm and how they live. Really excited for this part of our Alaska vacation because we're going to be moving to Kentucky in just over a month and starting our own kind of little mini homestead and gardening. So interested to see their setup and what they're doing in Alaska. Very different from Kentucky, but I think there'll be some at least similarities or some stuff that I can learn from them. Graham and his partner Mindy own and operate the Grove Farmstead located in Talkeetna, Alaska. They grow microgreens and other edibles, raise pigs, and lead tours of their awesome property.
Trial and error and tried it out, and the beauty with microgreens is that they grow so quick. There's such a high turnover. You know, it's like 10 days and you have a crop, or you don't, and you can try again. So, whereas other vegetables, you know, you got one time a year, you got one shot at it, and if it doesn't work, you got to wait till next summer. So we do microgreens, and we've recently added edible flowers to our microgreens mixes, which has been a big hit with the chefs that we work with. So we do sunflower, red radish, and green radish. And those are all pretty big seeds, especially the sunflower, and they have a lot of nutrients in them, so they'll just use up all the nutrients in the seed to grow their shoot. But yeah, they don't need much at all. They need about an inch, you know. More is better because it'll hold more water that way, more moisture. But otherwise, as long as you're getting them enough water, just, you know, an inch or so is all you need. And I've actually been trying to work with our aquaponics system to kind of pump the water that way, and does away with the soil there, that big expense, and then also the need for watering. So you're cycling that water through. They don't need a whole lot, and that's why you can get away with just these little, like I said, $16 shop lights. So feed fish pee and poop, bacteria break down mainly the urea waste from the fish into a plant usable form of nitrogen. So here's the red radish. It's got a little bit of a kick to it, but it's not like super overpowering or anything. And then this is the sunflower. The annoying thing with the sunflower is these little seed coats that like to stay on there. We've done probably a dozen or so varieties over the years, but this is kind of what works for us and is the most productive and what most people like, and is easiest to grow. One of the first things we did on our property was put in some berry bushes and perennials. We were into, and still are, into permaculture, which is using a lot more perennials. You know, you put it in the ground once and you get a yield, ideally every year, you know. You're not disturbing the soil as much, and now we've added the edibles and medicinals to her. But you can eat this whole stalk here. Kind of bitter to eat it raw and a little bit fibrous, but you can steam that, saute it. These flowers are edible, and we've made fireweed jelly out of it. So, would you like to try a fireweed flower? Puts these flowers down below out first, and as you can see, you know, it'll slowly work its way up the flower here. And then by the time the top of the plant flowers, they say there's 6 more weeks until the first snow in Alaska. That's kind of how the saying goes. This is horsetail here. Mm-hmm. So this is just an ancient plant. You know, its cousins go all the way back to the Paleozoic period. You know, it just looks like a dinosaur plant. Mm-hmm. And this would grow like 50 feet tall. So this would be like a big tree. It's also called puzzleweed because you can kind of, it grows in these segments that come apart, and you can kind of put them back together, which, whatever. But tons of silica in this, and you can make tea, and you can saute these stalks too and eat those. Again, probably it's a lot more tender when it first comes up. But
this is everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And you can see I've actually harrowed it a little bit in here, but this is a whole field of horsetail. These are spruce tips. So our main trees here in Alaska are, you know, birch, spruce, and cottonwoods, or poplars, which is cottonwoods and aspens. But these spruce tips, which is the first growth off a spruce tree, is super high in vitamin C, makes a delicious tea, used extensively by the natives for, you know, thousands and thousands of years. That's a really awesome specimen of chaga. Have you heard about chaga?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's delicious. It's another one of those. It was a Siberian remedy for, you know, whatever, tens of thousands of years.
Yeah.
But has gained popularity recently. And it really doesn't look like a typical mushroom. You know,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like exploding out of the tree. This one happens to be growing on an aspen, which is kind of rare. I've never seen another one on an aspen, but this is definitely a chaga. Typically, they grow on the birch. They're pulling the betulin out of the birch trees, which will break down to betulinic acid, which gives it all the medicinal properties. But it's another great for the lymph system. Gives you energy. Good for your blood. Yeah, anti-cancer. You know, just kind of down the line, just a super natural drug, if you will. But yeah, very popular, just easy to break off chunks of it. You know, if you go around the boreal forest, you can, you know, bring a little hatchet with you and take a chunk off, and cheese grater and just kind of grind it down, and that's your tea. So yeah, it's getting really popular, and if you look online, it's going for big bucks.
Yeah.
We've had pigs several years, and we have 2 pigs this year. Shade, they'll always find their favorite tree to scratch on. Constantly rooting, finding roots. Mostly our food source is
Spent
go
grain?
get some more this morning, but spent grain from the brewery.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a free food source that the brewery can't get rid of fast enough. You know.
There's a lot of distilleries in Kentucky, so
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean,
this-
I'm sure you could. So they love it. They get kind of sick of it, and I give them a little bit of it's called hog concentrate. So it has all the whatever a healthy pig should get, I guess, whatever they determine that should be. But it's nice just to see. We were vegetarians for a long time, just could never really get on board with the industrial food industry, you know, where these, you know, most of the pork that you get, the pigs never getting off pavement, you know, their whole life. So, and they immediately will cut their tails so that they don't chew on them, you know, in the dense living conditions that they're in. They live pretty good lives and then have one bad day. Between all these things, we're trying to piece it together and make it work. And it's tough in a town of, you know, 800 year-round visitors, but, you know, luckily we do have a very supportive community and tons of tourists in the summer. So between all those things, we're kind of getting it figured out here. So.
we ended our tour with herbal tea, sourced from their property, of course, and some delicious pesto made from chickweed and garlic. Had a very great tour with Graham on his farm, The Grove. If you're interested in checking it out, I'll have links down below so you can do a tour if you are in Alaska. If you're interested in farming and agriculture and just want to see how other people do it, highly recommend it, especially if you're on the way to Denali anyway. It's a excellent use of your time to sort of break up the trip. So definitely check him out and leave comments down below of anything that you like that you saw or heard. I would be interested in seeing sort of what you picked up on and what resonated with you. But we're now heading to Talkeetna and then on to Denali after that. Later.